We'll now invite our next presenter, Ms. Dobbyn, Executive Director of United Way, Bruce Gray. Welcome. Please be seated. You've seen the drill. You have 5 minutes opening address now.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you today in regard to Bill 132. The United Way Bruce Gray is one of many charities and organizations that processes applications for low-income energy consumers for emergency assistance. We have been very vocal and pointed in our concerns over the past year in regard to high energy costs. Energy is very much a part of our community as we generate 30% of Ontario's power at the world's largest nuclear station, Bruce Power. So we know what's going on in our community. We're also home to a few wind turbines and solar farms and proper farms with cows, chickens, and corn. We have comprehensive data, and we have daily conversations with households struggling with energy poverty. We are our own subject matter experts. Utility companies are not set up to deliver social programs. Regulators are not set up to deliver social programs. And social services know how to deliver programs to those who they interact with after they have been qualified. Charities and community groups know how to engage a broad community, from those in deep need to those who are coping but could use a little extra help here and there. We are starting to see the positive changes. I've seen 2 Hydro One bills wiped out completely by the OESPs. Their bills were less than the credit. We have spoken to people who've commented that it's significant and it is starting to help. We've worked closely with the Ontario Energy Board, the OEB, to increase uptake of applications for the OESP, including partnering with local income tax clinics. The OESP gives us what we've never had before, direct access to verified low-income households. We can boost, as was done in May 1st, to support those highly specific households with minimal administration. Putting the cost of the OESP onto general revenue makes sense. All social programs should be funded on the broadest base possible. Also relevant to our community is the continued changes to the rural or remote rate protection, the RRP. The January reduction was significant, and the changes in the bill will continue to ease the burden for rural customers. So on your sheet that I brought, the long sheet, is a comparison data of all of 2016 to 2017. We started coding last year when we looked at the density issue, and we realized that rural was paying double urban costs in terms of delivery. So in our database of applicants to our program, this is just the United Way's program, we started coding their Hydro One applications based on their density level. And we were able to then pull out, based on the grant level, those with electric heat to give that comparison. So in 2016, if you were on electric heat, the arrears that brought you to crisis, to our program, was almost $1,500. Well, in 2017, and this data was fresh 6 o'clock this morning, you can see that we have been able to track a reduction. That rural density electric heat crisis is now down to $986. Now, it seems kind of ridiculous to say there's been a reduction in crisis, but there's still a crisis. But what people are coming to us with is lower bills. They're not as far behind as they were before. So we're starting to see the impact of these changes across the system and the impact of the OESP. And we'll be continuing to track this data as the additional changes come through so we can see what's happening. So we support the changes in Bill 132, and we believe those changes will continue to reduce arrears in the community. I've heard a lot and read a lot of chatter in the media and on social media, and I'd like to take the opportunity to encourage everyone in this hallowed hall to ask the question, what would a sustainable, affordable, and ethical electrical system look like? The question of what happens in 4 years is up to you. You can spend the next 4 years focused on gotcha politics and scoring talking points, and does the person with the most Facebook memes really win? Or can we usher in an era of collaboration and innovation? Energy is a necessity. When the market is allowed to plan, it plans for profit regardless of consequence. When the government plans, it plans for the lowest bidder regardless of consequence. When regulators plan, they become mired in bureaucracy and self-service regardless of consequence. So let's start looking at a sustainable system that is safe, affordable, and innovative, and work backwards through the steps to get there in 4 years. Our experience, our data, our team is here to assist in whatever way Queen's Park and its partners fit to see to use us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dobbyn. Begin the Liberal Government side, Mr. Delaney.
Well, thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much for your presentation. In working with some of the people that you serve, you mentioned the work that you do with the Ontario Electricity Support Program. Do you also help people to understand how important it is to file an income tax return to qualify for the Ontario Energy and Property Tax Credit?
Absolutely. We fund, there's no funding for federal income tax clinics whatsoever. The volunteers get the training, they may be able to get a computer grant, but the ink, the paper, everything like that is totally up to the people to go and find, the volunteers to find those. So we partnered with our income tax clinics and we split the proceeds of doing an OESP application because they do the first half, we do the second half, which then gives them a budget to proceed. And we've highlighted that income tax credit. My daughter, I was in Timmins for the long weekend and I give me your tax return. I want to make sure you're getting it. So yeah, we absolutely push and highlight every single deduction people are eligible for.
So that would also include, for example, ensuring that everybody on assistive devices is meticulous about getting in their tax return early, that they all apply for the appropriate benefits?
Absolutely. And we do it in a rural context of everywhere.
Well, I have to commend you for actually making the measurements that show that when you put your effort into bringing the bills down, that the bills do in fact come down, and thank you for your deputation. Thanks, Chair.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Go, Mr. Cole.
Yeah, just on the income tax thing, this is the other frustration about people not filling out or not having the income tax filled out properly. We have contacted the CAAs, the Chartered Accountants Association of Ontario, the CAs, and they come in every year to my constituency office, and they do free of charge to modest income constituents their income tax. So I don't know if that's available.
We have many income tax clinics throughout Bruce Grey counties because we're rural and people don't have transportation. So we have a lot of volunteers that are working hard, retired CPAs and such. So it's well covered. We've been working with those volunteers to do clinics off peak. So if somebody needs their, they finally got organized, shall we say, and they're ready to do it in December, yeah, we'll get it done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. To the PC side, Mr. Walker.
Francesca, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Bill.
Lots of questions for you. Would you agree the least fortunate are still in a perilous state related to their hydro rates, yes or no?
The least fortunate are in a perilous relating to food, energy, electricity, everything.
Thank you. Are you concerned about the debt retirement charge coming back at 4 times what it's been taken off?
I'm concerned with any debt retirement charge coming in 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, 2 years.
Thank you. So a little bit of, we're going to give you a bit now, but at the end of the day, is it going to be better for those people who are still struggling if it's coming back even stronger in 4 years?
Well, there's always hope. In 4 years,
hope doesn't pay the bills.
Hope doesn't. I know that hope doesn't pay the bills, but we've got the basic income pilot, which is 3 years. So hopefully, we'll get to a point where we can manage the bills. That's I like to be optimistic. You know me.
So do I.
So do I. Me.
You know that we spill water at Niagara Falls. You know that we pay groups like Bruce Power to vent steam, which is costing us money. I trust you're aware that we spent $6 billion. We paid the states in Quebec to take our surplus, not gave it away. We actually pay them. So do you support a moratorium on the Green Energy Act?
I don't know enough about the Green Energy Act. I don't know how everything interconnects as well as I do. I know the grid better than the average person. My father worked at Bruce Power for 30 years, so I know the system. What I'd like to see is people being able to use more power. We've been beating the drum of conservation,
but this
and then
isn't doing that. That's my concern with this plan. This is short-term window dressing. It's not actually addressing the systemic problems that we have with our hydro, which was my concern, particularly for the people that you represent, the less fortunate. That this isn't really going to do anything other than a little bit of short-term gain, and I'll give them that. Yes, people are always going to say, "Are you happy to get a 25% rebate?" Absolutely, but not if your rates have gone up 400%, and they're going to go back and start to escalate again after an election cycle, which is interesting. One of the thoughts I had, and you know this as well as I do, food bank usage in our riding went up considerably between 2013 and 15. This may roll back prices to 2014, so again, they're kind of saying, yeah, this is a bit of relief, but at the end of the day, if there's going to be sharp increases that actually fall after the next election a year away, do you consider this a stopgap or a solution?
I think it's a stopgap for now, and I hope, and that's my challenge to you, is you got 4 years, figure it out.
Absolutely, and I think when I look at things like your piece of information that you gave us here. It's interesting that an agency like you have to get that detailed because the problem is so onerous. And what I keep saying to the government when I'm in the House, when are you going to actually address the concern rather than keep bringing programs? You know, the OESP, they actually spent $12 million to advertise it and to pay consultants. Would you not have thought that would have been better use of money to go back to the actual end users on their bill?
Well, I would like to have seen the charities got some of that because there's a lot more we can do, especially with 211. But, you know, water under a bridge, let's fix it and get going.
Fix the systemic, not put window dressing. I so
Oh,
fully
yes.
agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Mr. Tabbins, NDP.
Thank you, Chair.
Hey, Peter.
Ms. Dobbyn, welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to see you. I'm glad that people are seeing some relief. I'm very worried about what's going to happen in 4 years. I don't see any move on the part of the government to deal with the structural issues that will be there to drive prices up again sharply in the future. Other than that, I think Bill has asked pretty much all the questions I was going to put to you. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tabbins. Thanks to you, Ms. Dobbyn, for your deputation on behalf of United Way. Bruce Gray. This committee is adjourned until tomorrow.